This is one of the last times to use your first wildcard. Hello guys, and if by any chance you still haven't used your first wildcard, I believe this is the right time to do so. It's just before game week 17. You can prepare your team, you can remove some players that are either injured or suspended. There's some controversial guys here that are still flagged or rumored to be having a little bit of knocks, but I've prepared this wildcard so you can get ahead and use it up until maybe game week 27 or 28. I prepared a pretty solid draft. Of course, you use your free transfers during that duration of time to adjust your team, but you still own the core players here. And I have a little bit of a surprise waiting for you at the end, so stay tuned for that. Let's now discuss the goalkeepers. Ariola, I know he's rumored to be injured, but he's going to be my backup goalkeeper for the next three fixtures if I'm using the wild card, because Neto is having the best fixture run of the bunch and he's a very solid option to go for you. Bournemouth are on the rise, and it's good to target their players slash fixtures while they're up ahead. They drew against Villa, they destroyed United. Last week they scored more goals as well, and Neto is keeping some clean sheets here and there, which can be set for very little bunch of the guys. Basically, everyone are conceding. Today, Villa kept a clean sheet, and it was Bournemouth that kept a clean sheet. The other teams conceded goals. Oh no, Sheffield kept a clean sheet too. But let's be honest, we are not picking a Sheffield defender because they are getting destroyed almost every game. But Bournemouth are becoming better and better. Here, you can opt for Rob Sanchez, who is a pretty solid option as well. But I have a defender from Chelsea in my defensive line, and I don't like to double up on defenders. When I own a defender or a goalkeeper, I just stick with only one from the side. It's just to focus more fixtures because, yeah, if they get a clean sheet, that's going to be a big hole. But if they do not, you are getting to go to get a lot less points than you desire. So yeah, one player per team in defense is my rule, unless they're as attacking as Robertson and Trent were several seasons ago. But for now, Neto and Ariola make up the lineup. Turner returned to the Nottingham Forest side after Vojodimus made several errors in game week 15. Game week 16 was for Turner, and they earned a very solid point against Wolves, who were on the rise. So yeah, Turner is another option, and he is cheaper than expected. So if you want to go for Turner, you can go for him, but believe me, Ariola is more nailed than Turner is, because right around the corner they can just snap the fingers and put Turner back on the bench, and you'll be without a backup goalkeeper, which is not ideal. So yeah, Ariola as a backup, and after Neto fixtures turn for the worse, you can go for Ariola, who in 4 weeks' time is having an okay turn of events, and he's having Brighton and Sheffield or something like that, which is more than ideal for the lineup. So yeah, Neto and Ariola and go. More expensive players here, as you can see, I have 96.7 million only used, and if this is if everyone is just bought from the market, it's not like if you own some of the players, you already have more money, so you can always go to Ederson or Alisson, but Ederson is having a blank game week in 2 weeks' time, and Alisson is just too expensive and is having United and Arsenal in the next two fixtures, which is far from ideal. So yeah, Ariola and Neto for me for the next couple of fixtures, maybe 5 to 6, are on a green run, and after that you can always use a transfer for a goalkeeper or just stick with a good goalkeeper such as Neto, who can save penalties and who can just bring you clean sheets, especially against the weaker sides. In defense, as already mentioned, I have my Chelsea coverage, and it is Louis Cole from Chelsea. Once again, they have the greeniest run of fixtures that anyone can basically want, and I believe they're going to get several clean sheets in that run. If you feel tempted to go for a Chelsea goalkeeper instead of Cowell, go for it, but then pick another defender. Just don't go for a double from Chelsea, because sometimes they can concede like 4 goals and next time they can keep a clean sheet. So yeah, it's nothing in between basically. So yeah, Cole is the guy here. The two most important parts of the defense is Trippier and Poro. For me, they're the best attacking wingbacks, including Trent, adding Trent to the mix. But Trent is having, as already mentioned, Arsenal and United, which is far from ideal for a defender, even of the rank of Trent. So for me, the two most reliable players going forward are Poro and Trippier. They are attacking. Yet Trippier is having a game on Sunday, which has not happened yet because this video is pre-recorded before the Sunday fixture, so he can miss next game week. But then you can just deploy Poro, Pau, and Coil, which will be ideal. But after he's back from suspension, if he is even suspended, Trippier is going to have a pretty good run of fixtures after the Spurs game. So yeah, I believe that Trippier is pretty good option. And after a Newcastle game, the same counts for Poro. Poro is the best attacking wing back for the price, at least in my opinion. 5.3. He's taking set pieces in the absence of Madison. He's so attacking right now, and in my opinion, is a good player to own right now, especially with the turn of the fixtures. I wanted to own him, but sadly, I just cannot spare the transfer because in my real team, a lot of players are getting injured, suspended, and I just need to put out fires just when they happen. So I'll have to see how I'm going to handle the situation. But for me, Poro 5.3 and Trippier 7.0 are very reliable picks. The cheap guy here is Charlie Taylor. I know he's suspended, but up until then you're just not using the fifth defender and he is a cover. He has an okay run of fixtures. Burnley are not an ideal team to own a defender. Here you can go for Brantwaite because Everton are on the rise. But just it's up to you who pick. In my opinion, Charlie Taylor as a wingback counts for more than Braithwaite. So I am picking him as a fifth defender option. And the last guy that is not mentioning here is Pau Torres. I wanted the Aston Villa defender. It was between him and Diego Carlos because this is a cover-up. Most of the weeks you are playing Trippier, Poro and Cowell because of the run of fixtures and how attacking they are looking. Defenders such as Luka Jean, Machi Cash and Moreno from Aston Villa are not nailed. As you can see, Cash has been benched in the last couple of fixtures, while Gine is now suspended for game week 17 for sure. And Moreno is just getting back up to fitness. Maybe Moreno is nailed for game week 17, but after that, who knows? So Pau Torres is the guy that can cover from them. Aston Villa are one of the better sides this season. They just beat Arsenal. They beat Man City in the midweek, so they're in second place right now, just behind Liverpool. I don't want to say why I don't own a Liverpool defender right now, but I will repeat it. It's because of the next two fixtures. I don't see them keeping a clean sheet with them. Even though United are in shambles, I believe the big rivalry between them. Just form doesn't matter. Maybe they'll keep a clean sheet. But if I am to make a wildcard team right now, I'm just not picking any Liverpool defenders. While other teams such as City are having a blank, Brentford as well, good run, but blanking. Once again, Arsenal are having two tough fixtures for sure, so it's not ideal to pick players from them. It's Brighton and Liverpool, so it's far from ideal. Wolves are getting a worse run of fixtures. West Ham, I already own a goalkeeper. Fulham are an option for sure, but I just find those defenders better. Am I missing some other big team? No, I talk about the Manchester teams. Newcastle I own, Aston Villa I own, Chelsea, Spurs, Liverpool. Yeah, I believe that wraps up the defense quite nicely. Attacking wing backs, two center backs that can be rotated if you need to attack the fixtures or you need to cover up two solid goalkeepers. Fifth defender, that's going to be the 14th or 15th player on the bench almost every week. So everything sounds perfect, at least in my opinion. If you have anyone else to add in the defense line, please write it down in the comment section. All of your input is much appreciated. But now let's go and see how the midfield is looking. In midfield, there are a lot of big names, and I believe that they are pretty good players. Now let's talk about them one by one. First is Mohamed Salah. He just scored his 150th goal in the Premier League, which is a massive number. He scored 200 Liverpool goals, which is another massive number. And he can score from basically any situations. He's nailed on penalties. Against Arsenal and Manchester United, let's be honest, he's not being taken out. He's going to be rested midweek against the side in the Europe League, so he will be fresh coming for the game against United. He's at home. He's a very solid player for a captain option, even though it's United. They're in shambles, so Salah is a great captain option at that fixture. 13.1 is a lot, especially if you own another set of expensive players. But for me, he should be in your side every game week. He's the highest scoring player in the FPL game right now, and it's for a reason. Next up is Bukayo Saka, 8.9 for a price. I know that Arsenal just lost to Villa, but against Villa away from home, everyone is seemingly to lose. So I will be not risking taking out Saka. I know it's next game against Brighton, and Brighton are attacking side, but they are leaky, so Saka can exploit that weakness. Maybe Gross will operate on the left flank because today there was a player that I cannot remember his name and it was far from ideal, but for me, Gross will occupy that space in the next fixture and they will get better and better. They will need to get the points because after that's a game against Liverpool, and I don't see Liverpool losing that game if I have to be honest. So yeah, they need to get the points in game week 17, and Saka will be involved for sure. Next up is Heung-min Son. I know that he is flagged right now, but if he plays in game week 16 against Newcastle, he's going to play in 17 for sure because they need him to play. He's their best player by far. He's scoring some goals here and there. He's missing some chances here and there. They're struggling a little bit Spurs right now, but they will bounce back for sure. And Son will be part of that against the weaker sides. And when they're winning, Son is involved almost every time. And if you don't own him right now, for me, with the next 3 to 5 fixtures, and the Rona fixture is so good for Spurs, and they will need to get up the points, especially if they lose against Newcastle tomorrow or today for you if you watch it on Sunday or in the past if you watch it during the week. But yeah, Son for me, if he's playing, he should be in your side. If he is not, maybe you should go for Bowen and save more money for the forward line where we will have a discussion there for sure. But for me, Son is a very, very good player and you should own him. Gordon is the most nailed Newcastle midfielder, basically, and the most attacking wise. Harvey Barnes is nearing a return, and they have a pretty important game in Champions League in midweek. But I believe Gordon will be playing next week as well. So 6.1, he has risen in price, but he is a very, very solid pick. I don't think I need to add a lot for him. He is scoring basically against anyone, strong or weak opposition. So Gordon is a very, very good player. And last but not least, with the run of fixtures for Chelsea, I couldn't not pick an attacker or a midfielder, and Palmer takes up the notch here. I could have gone for Sterling maybe, but for me, Palmer with pen duties when he's on the field, with such a good player developing in the Chelsea side, and Chelsea needing the points for sure. I believe Palmer will be involved in a lot of goals. If there is a penalty, he will be involved once again. So 5.4, you cannot go wrong. It's a lineup build up for a 3-5-2, so expect a killer striker in the forward line. But here, I don't see anything better for the next couple of fixtures. As mentioned, if you have any other input, put it in the comment section. If you enjoy the video, like it, subscribe to the channel because I've just reached 600 subscribers and now my next goal is 700 and I'm hoping to reach it as soon as possible. But now let's go and focus on the forward line because as mentioned, there is a surprise there. Here are the forwards, and as you can see, there is a big commission here. I'm not putting Erling Haaland in the wildcard team. Hear me out. He has a game against Crystal Palace. I haven't seen him how he's playing against Luton because I'm recording it on Saturday night and he is playing on Sunday. But yeah, he in game week 17 is having Crystal Palace at home. Fair. He most probably is going to score a lot of goals there. But after that, there is a blank. So if you pick Haaland, you have to pick someone else to go up on his place. That may be Archer, that may be someone else, but that means that you cannot own at least one of Trippier, Salah, Saka, or Son. And having a player of the Haaland's caliber missing a game and going for another player just to put it while Haaland's on the bench and having such an expensive player on the bench, it's not worth it, at least in my opinion, if you're using the wild card now. If you already own Haaland, don't sell him because you just structured the team. But if you're using the wild card, sorry, just feel the pressure of not owning Haaland. I'm doing a no Haaland project. I'm not recommending it basically to anyone because it's stressful, especially when my other players blanks. Today, from the games, only Salah scored me some high points. The other just 2 and 1s. But yeah, here, if you want to pick a better playing player in the next two fixtures, I cannot look far away from Watkins. Watkins is a very solid player, and if you don't want to play a bigger part of the fixture runs without Haaland, after game week 18, you can use your transfers to swap Watkins and maybe someone else, whoever you don't like from the side. Maybe someone is injured or someone is emerging as a cheaper option. You can always replace Son, Saka, Trippier, Salah if you don't want him, and you have around 3 to 4 million at least in the bank. So you need to find at least two more. So Saka for someone like a Brighton player like Gross or another Chelsea asset or something like that. And Watkins makes up for Haaland. I believe that you haven't spent a lot of money in defense apart from Trippier, so you have the money to do so. If you're afraid of the money, you can go for Schär instead of Trippier, and you can easily afford Haaland from Watkins, which is around 5.7 million difference. So you can gain that by selling Trippier or selling Saka or selling Son. It's up to you. But basically, I'm not going for Haaland if I'm using the wild card. It's a little bit controversial, but a player that is blanking in 1 week's time, it's not worth for me. That's why I haven't picked anyone from Brentford. And that's why I'm steering away from blankers and I haven't picked a City player. They have the by far the easiest fixture run, but that blank is destroying everything I want to build with them. I want to see how tired they're going to be after that, because basically they're playing on the 22nd and then on the 25th or 23rd, and basically on the 25th there's a game against Everton, so they have a day, maximum two of recovery. That will be tricky for sure. But yeah, you can focus on that after they come back from the Club World Cup. So here I'm not picking Haaland. Don't judge me, or if you want, judge me. But just listen to my thoughts. That's why I'm not picking him, because he's having a blank. And if I'm preparing a wildcard team with some injury niggles and some blankers, it's going to be a little bit confusing for everyone to pick up a side for game week 18, basically, especially if there is a suspension to, let's say, Trippier or a suspension to someone else. It's going to be so tricky. So yeah, I'm not going for Haaland. I'm picking Watkins and I'm picking Solanke. As mentioned, next three fixtures for Bournemouth are ideal for a Solanke owner, and if you have the money to spend it on a port such as Solanke, you can go for it. If you're using the money someone else, just put it on somewhere else. But yeah, if you have the money, Solanke is a good option at 6.5. Nailed, Talismanic on pens, ideal. And Watkins, with the form that Villa are in, they have an away and a home fixture in the next 2 weeks when he's replacing Haaland basically. So yeah, it's a good way for Watkins to return some points. And the final guy here, as I already mentioned, is a fewer guy. It's Archer. You can go for Senesi, but you're picking up 3 Bournemouth players, and that's from not Senesi, Semenyo, sorry, and that's far from ideal. You can pick someone else if you want, but for me, Archer is the better option here. He is almost always present on the field. He is getting subbed off sometimes, but with the new coach there will start winning, at least in my opinion. So he is going to be a solid option. So Watkins, Wack and Archer make up the final line. And if you want from game week 18, after game week 18, you can sell one of the 4 expensive guys right now in the team and Watkins and just afford Haaland once again. But for me, you can always take the risk and going after Christmas without Haaland, because Everton just 2 days after playing in the final, if they qualify for the final, and I believe they will, is going to be a tricky game for sure. So we will have to see how they're going to manage. But yeah, that's the wildcard team. If you have any suggestions, put it in the comment section. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, help me now attack the 600, the 700 mark. I already passed the 600, so yeah, I need your help for the 700 once again. But for now, guys, I'll be heading out. Bye.